Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. To begin with, I'd like to ask my friend Jeff Tate from First Methodist Church to come and open us in prayer. And then following that, Mr. Mike Grant will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you choose, and if you're able to, please stand.
Thank you. Let's pray. Oh, Father, it is a privilege to be called by you in so many different ways, but especially we're thankful today for leaders who have sacrificed and stepped up in these positions. Our councilman,
Good afternoon.
Our mayor, those who work for our city, Lord, because we know that they're working for you as well. Lord, I pray that you would.
ABC is better even if we did a texture.
Setting your agenda before us that we might be able today.
So no texture on XYZ. We're basically just replacing what we
Hearts
had.
that are open to you, grant wisdom, discernment.
And that's it.
Which is more than zero.
It is more than
Which is no cost to
So,
us.
yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No, that's why we're a team. I appreciate the feedback.
Thank you, gentlemen.
So you're saying that 2%, 2 cents. 2 cents. 2 cents would be 4 cents.
It would, well, no. 2 cents would be more than the 4 cents. From
Of the other one.
extra.
Of the other one.
It would be
But we had no investment in it. We had, it's free money. So it's
Thank you.
they're both free money.
Yes. And if it were affected,
to go out and be part of that. There will be no formal presentation, it'll just be a time to have public input with the guys from ALDOT and the ones doing this study. So I do encourage you to go up on Tuesday, May the 12th, from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Wills Valley Rec Center. So that'd be good to have a big showing up there for that. Also, we're going to have a public input meeting for the GH Metal property that we've been working on with the Brownfield grant. This is the redevelopment portion of that grant, and they will be in town on June the 1st, and we'll have same type of a deal there. They're going to be at the DeKalb Theater. They'll have tables set up and public input for what you, the public, would like to see in that area on the GH Metal property. They will be doing a big redevelopment and a design and drawing for part of this grant, and that'll be June the 1st from 5:30 or 5:30 p.m. and they'll be there, for however long. They'll also be there throughout the week, and on Thursday they'll do a closing presentation at 3 o'clock p.m. And my understanding is they'll have some type of a redevelopment design of what they have learned from Monday through Thursday to present out to the public on what they get, the input they get from the public on what people want to see in that area. So they'll be coming into the area and encouraging folks to come and be part of that. Like I said, the opening presentation will be on June the 1st at 5:30. Closing presentation is Thursday, June the 4th at 3 o'clock p.m. And they're going to have what he said would be an open door policy throughout the week from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So anytime that week, 9 to 5, if you want to go by the theater, they'll have folks there. If you think of something, hey, I want to go by and tell them this. So we encourage you to do that. And hopefully we'll see something happen there really, really soon with that piece of property. Also wanted to let you all know I got an update this morning from AlDOT that says they're going to start the construction on the intersection at Jordan Road, Airport Road, and Highway 35 on June the 1st. They've been waiting to get their equipment and stuff in, so that construction, we're told, is supposed to be June the 1st. Hopefully that will hold true, and they'll be out there June the 1st doing the construction work on that piece of property, or that intersection out there. Going to be a little hairy getting through there, I'm sure, so just buckle up, get ready to know that it's going to be better once they get done. So, and also wanted to remind everybody that this Saturday, or not this Saturday, but May the 16th will be Third Saturday. Encourage everybody to come out to downtown and be part of Third Saturday on May the 16th. Amelia Landstreet and her crew does a fantastic job putting this together. So encourage everybody to come out and be part of that on Third Saturday, May the 16th. And that's all I've got.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we will enter into, actually, you're gonna do the Toys for Tots section.
Yes. We have LaRue Hardinger here to come and present some plaques for Toys for Tots. So LaRue, if you want to come up to the microphone.
Good afternoon. I think I have given a lot of folks their thank you certificates. The only one that I still have with me is the Fort Payne Building and Maintenance Department, Jimmy Crawley. They helped us a whole lot last summer in making some, doing some maintenance to the building that you have allowed us to use over the last, I've lost count of the years. This is our 14th campaign, and I think y'all started with us about 11 or 12 years ago. And I can't thank you enough for that. I have given all of you a copy basically of the numbers of the children that we helped last December, and the grand total of children that we've helped. This is sponsored by the Northeast Alabama Marine Corps League, Detachment 1404. However, the Marine Toys for Tots program is the local chapter of the foundation, which is nationwide. We're one of 800 and some odd campaigns across the United States. And you guys have supported us so well. We cannot thank you enough. Last Christmas, we were able to provide toys, books, games, and stocking stuffers for 2,124 DeKalb County children that were in need, that were approved by the DHR on our behalf. We asked them to do this, and they volunteered their time to do this over and above their jobs, and we appreciate them for that. We're in our 14th campaign. So for the first 13 campaigns, we have provided 106,002 toys to 15,954 kids in DeKalb County. And once again, all of these are vetted to make sure that they do live here, these are their children, or they have a custodial relationship with them, and that they are in need. We also help throughout the year, in case anyone needs to know. If there is a house fire or any kind of disaster, catastrophic illness, death of a parent, if you know of anyone where the children need help, need toys, we do have some that we have left that we can provide for them. If you would just get in touch with me. My phone number and email are on that sheet that I have given you. And I just want to thank all of the city employees, but today I have brought a plaque presented to the Fort Payne City Council. Tom Bazemore will be presenting to Joanne Brewer a certificate for her, and also for it says Fort Payne city employees that's separate from this, and that's kind of his territory to do that. So would it be an inconvenience to have a photo made with the plaque?
Great.
By the way, we do use this building to receive toys, sort toys, bag toys, throughout the year. This is 100% volunteer too, by the way.
Sure, come in. There you go. You make it look good. Thank you. Good job. Appreciate that.
Good to see you too.
Thank you, Ms. Hardinger, for that wonderful presentation. We thank you for what the Toys for Tots group does and for the amount of children that you're reaching in our county. That's very touching. Thank you for that and for the work you do. Now we will move on to the resolution section of our agenda. You may have received a copy of the agenda either in print or on Facebook and other avenues. We are not going to entertain ordinance 2026-11 today. What we have decided from a result of our work session is, with the help of our attorney, Chad Hopper, and the admin committee consisting of the mayor and myself and Mike, as well as Nick Brown's department, we are going to work on a new ordinance, basically conforming it to what Fort Payne City would want, and also bring that back to the council at another work session to further discuss. Based on this being such an important topic for discussion, that is the ordinance regulating the retail sale of consumable hemp within the corporate limits in accordance with state law. So that will be discussed further down the road. We will, however, entertain resolution 2026-14. We also discussed this during our work session. This is a resolution authorizing limited waiver of certain construction-related fees for Reserve Windows, LLC, also DBA as Foes Windows. As you may know, we recently approved tax abatements for this company. They're in the midst. They're starting a large expansion at their project off of Airport Road. It'll be in the neighborhood of 22 million is what's estimated to bring somewhere between 90 and 115 jobs in our future. So we're looking forward to that. That's exciting. But what we did not entertain originally, they did not approach us about permit fees. This is something that we're going to look at right now in resolution 2026-14. So what is the pleasure of the council? Thank you.
Motion to waive 50% up to $9,000.
Okay. A motion from John. Yes, John, to waive up to 50% of their permit fee with a cap of $9,000. Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Richard. All right, let's do a roll call. So, Richard, you're yes?
Yeah.
I'll say yes.
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 Okay, roll call vote, and it was unanimous. So this will be approved, Resolution 2026-14. All right, new business. MDA is here to present financials to us. We'll allow them to come up, please, to the microphone. MDA is a group out of Albertville that we use, and they do an annual audit of our financials. They have put together a nice packet. We appreciate you being here, and they're gonna hit the highlights for us. So thank you for coming, and thank you for the work that you've done over several recent weeks and months to get this together.
Thank you. My name is Jennifer Forrester. I'm a shareholder partner with MDA Professional Group. And just wanted to say we appreciate the opportunity to serve the city in the capacity of auditor, and enjoy the working relationship with the staff. They've been most helpful in getting us the information we needed. So you've got a couple things. The first thing I'll go through is this letter. This is required communication to the council. And so in the letter, we talk about some of the standards that we follow, that being the governmental accounting standards. This year, there was a change in those standards that required implementation of GASB 101 related to compensated absences. And what that essentially did, in the past, sick leave had never been recorded in the financial statements because it's not paid out upon termination. But the GASB Standards Board looked at what is paid out, and generally there is sick leave paid out every year. And so we took an estimate looking back at how much sick leave is paid out every year just when people take it, and estimated what that will be in the future years. So the entire liability is not recorded, but an estimate of what will be used and paid out is recorded. There's some information on the estimates in the financial statements. About halfway down on page 2, you'll notice there says certain financial statement disclosures are particularly sensitive just due to their significance. And so I'll make sure and kind of just touch on those, where they're at in the financial statements. I would encourage you to look at those. They relate to liabilities, restrictions on net assets, and so, you know, gas taxes must be used for gas taxes, and making sure you're aware of those. And then the change in accounting principle related to the compensated absences. As I mentioned, we did not encounter any difficulties dealing with management during the audit. We would have had to report that to you if we had. There is a listing of corrected misstatements following this letter, and so those are adjustments that were made to report the financial statements on an accrual basis or a modified accrual basis, which is required for government accounting standards. And so that's the difference in what you see on your monthly budget and financial statements, and what we have to present is for the bondholders and is for an annual audit to the state. I think that's about all in the letter. Certainly if you have questions after you look through any of this information and you want to reach out to me or get with Grant and send me an email, I welcome that if there's any questions. So next I'll go over the highlights, which is kind of packed, and it's the highlights of some of the information in the financial statements. So wanted to note that there was an increase in government, or in total assets. A lot of that was related to the increase in fixed assets, so about 1.7 million in governmental and business type asset, or governmental, increases. And then there was a tax and grant receivables. So there was activity going on during the year, the sidewalk grant and some other things that had receivables, some of the police grants, and money it will be received in fiscal year 26, but we accrued for that. And so that's some of the change in the assets. The decrease in liabilities, mainly that's about 1.5 million related to prior year AP that was related to the police building and some construction in progress that was ongoing at the fiscal year 24 end, and payments in debt and decreases in the pension liability. And the increase in the deferred inflows is solely related to the pension estimate, and we get that from the state. That's not anything we calculate, but they have actuaries that give us that information, and then we have to record it in the city's financial statements. The second tax revenue, or the revenue kind of analysis, shows that there's an increase overall, which is good. For the tax revenue, that was mainly an increase in sales taxes. The intergovernmental revenues related to, as I mentioned, the ALDOT sidewalk grant that was going on. There was some police staffing and capital grants that occurred during the year, and so that contributed to that 2.5 million increase in intergovernmental revenues. The decrease in contributions and donations related to the prior year Growing Alabama monies that were received. Those were reported in contributions and donations. And then the other revenues decrease related to, I believe, a county reimbursement for paving that happens, and so that fluctuates from year to year. Any questions so far? Okay. The third section, reports the revenues, which were up for the governmental funds about 5%, and expenditures were down about 3%. And then at the bottom there, you can see the actual capital outlay that was included in those expenditures. So there was quite a bit of capital outlay during fiscal year 2025. And on the far right is the proprietary funds, and there was a lot of capital outlay there too, with the state revolving funds and the sewer activity, the wastewater activity that was going on. There is a decrease in cash from the prior year, and restricted cash and short-term receivables. Mainly that's related to the Growing Alabama monies that were spent, so that was a planned activity. And in the restricted cash, the wastewater use of the SRF funds was also a planned activity. Okay. Any questions?
And this was through fiscal year September 30, 2025, correct?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, actually before you
Before
were
we took
here
off.
and had any decisions by this council.
Okay.
We'll go through pretty quickly the financial statements. I just want to kind of note the reports. So page 1 through 4 is the audit report. You'll note at the bottom of page 1 it says basis for opinion. So this is the opinion that we issued on the financial statements, and it was a clean opinion. If you'll turn to page 13, this is the statement of revenues and expenditures for the proprietary funds, which is the sewer, municipal, airport, sanitation. So, it's good to kind of see your operating revenues, your operating income loss. In the airport, there were grant funds received for those expenditures, but they're down in the non-operating section because they're not operating. But there was, positive change in that position for all of those funds, and that's really important because you want to make sure your proprietary funds are funding their activities, and you're, having money to do future capital improvements and things that are needed with those activities. Okay, now we'll look at the page 31. And this is a roll forward and shows the capital asset activity. So you can see, increases, decreases from construction in progress that went into buildings and improvements, and where you stand as far as all of the assets of the governmental activities. And then on page 32, this is for the business type activities. So again, that would be the wastewater, the airport, and the sanitation funds.
We don't have page numbers.
We do. It's
You
in
do?
this book. Oh, I'm in the wrong book. No wonder I'm on 32.
Oh, sorry.
Hey.
It's in the big bound, sorry. Okay, page 42, the next important disclosure is the long-term liability. So you can see a table here of, for both the governmental activities and the business type activities, the bonds, lease liabilities, notes payable, the line of credit that's subsequently been paid off, the compensated absences I talked about, contracts payable, and then the pension and OPEB liability. So this is all liabilities that the city has as of September 30th, 2025. And then down below, you also have the revenue bonds for the sewer, the landfill post-closure costs, which is an estimate, lease liability, and then again, the other benefits being the pension, OPEB, and vacation, so. And the far column shows what's due within the next year. Okay, page.
You know, line of credit, that shows due within 1 year, but that's paid.
It's been paid off, but as of September 30th, it had not, so
Okay.
that's why we had
Gotcha.
all of it current, because we knew it had been,
Thank you.
paid off. And there is we have a subsequent event disclosure where we noted that that was paid off after year end. Okay, page 44. This is your restrictions on net position and fund balance. So that just means this is cash that you have that is set aside for a specific purpose. And so this kind of shows whether it's highways and streets, for debt, for public safety, for capital improvements, and then what the restriction is, or what the designation, excuse me, assignment is. And it's reported as a restriction if there's an outside restriction. If you just internally decide you want to set money aside, we show that, but it's not as a restriction. It's as assigned or committed.
Okay.
Let's see, page 61, this is what I mentioned that reports the change in accounting principle related to the compensated absences. So we did also have to look at what was that impact as of September 30th, 2024, and move that and record that as a prior period adjustment. What that did is it captured just the current year change in the income statement. Again, it's just a lot of accounting procedures, but just wanted to point that out. That's different than last year. Okay, just two more items. Page 71. This is the schedule of expenditures of federal awards. So this was the grant money that you received both from the federal government or passed down through the state of Alabama. So there was the wastewater money that was used, there was the sidewalk grant, airport activities, and then the public safety police grants for hiring and for capital items. And because of that funding, you have to have two additional layers of reporting. So we have two reports in the back. One of them is called the Yellow Book Report, and this is on page 78 and 79. And then there's a third report that's related specifically to those federal awards. So we had to specifically test the federal awards to make sure they were in compliance with the federal requirements. And we did not have any issues related to those the federal spending. The last 2 pages are your schedule of findings, which kind of report that. We did have a finding that we've had for a couple years, and that's related to the choice to allow the auditor to do the cash to accrual adjustments and record some of the GASB adjustments that are required for the financial reporting. Any questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much. I know it's a lot of information to digest, so again, if you have a question that comes up later and you would like to talk with me, let me know.
Thank you, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Ms. Forrester, for the very comprehensive report and the work that you put into it in your group, so we appreciate that. All right, next item under new business is a budget adjustment. This is to pay for legal fees. It was part of a past litigation. The amount I have down is $40,000. Is that correct? Okay.
Our portion is 35, correct, Jeff?
Yes, well, yes,
Okay. But what we'll be paying or approving to pay is $35,000, correct? Okay. All right. Is there a motion that we pay this? Obviously, it's required as part of the litigation and the settlement. So do we have a motion to pay this out of new budget adjustment? Motion by Mike to pay. Is there any discussion or second? Do we have any second? Second by Bo. Do we have any further discussion on this? We had discussed this in previous executive sessions, so the council's been made aware of all the details, and Chad Hopper was helpful in getting us to this point as well. So we have a motion and a second. Motion by Mike, second by Bo. All those in favor of paying this, say aye. And any opposed? All right. Next item, new business, discussion to change depositories. We discussed this in our last executive session, so the council has been made aware of the items to discuss and to change on the depositories. Any comments further about this? Or do we have a motion to change depositories? It does, yes, because we signed depositories. We did that as a resolution when we first came on in November. So motion by Mike to change depositories. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Richard. Any discussion? All right, all those in, well, let's do a roll call vote. So Mike, we have a yes.
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 I'm saying, got some questions.
Okay.
Yes.
And yes, so 4-1. So the motion carries with changing depositories. All right, next item is a vote to approve the sprinkler system. And Wade has passed out information. So in the amount of $132,700. This would provide the necessary labor and material to install a wet and dry type automatic sprinkler system for the above referenced project, which this would be at the Fort Payne Coal and Iron Building. So as I currently understand it, and Chief, you can fill in anywhere here you'd like, but the Landmarks Group has received a grant to sprinkle the old theater, correct?
Yes, that's the Opera House.
The Opera House, yeah.
I mean, the remaining other two, locations just north of there, I'm not sure if all of that's in that current project or not, but.
Right.
We had the previous discussion about, we returned to the discussion about the coal and iron, which has been needing to be sprinkled.
Mhm.
And potentially those projects happening at the same time, working in conjunction with the water department, and some discussion we've had with them. So, that quote does not include the discussion we had, 2 weeks ago about, getting the quotes for the fire alarm system, the fire alarm set that will go in as far as a monitoring and notification system. We have reached out, I think that's in that other document with you, there. We're waiting to hear back from 3 separate companies. We do have a loose estimate on the high end for that, but we don't have it on paper. ballpark of around 25 to 30,000 for the fire alarm system for the entire culinary building, upstairs and downstairs, with the potential for the expansion or the determination of what the city ends up using, say the upstairs for.
Mhm.
That'll be kind of accommodated with these.
Okay. Are you recommending that we go ahead and vote on a total amount, maybe to not to exceed? So you had the original estimate from Seven Hills to sprinkle, with the labor and material of $132,700, with an estimated, and you feel comfortable with up to $30,000 for this other quote, and you're gonna receive 3 different quotes, on the alarm portion of it. So are you recommending we approve up to $163,000?
I would say so, yes.
Not to exceed
Right, correct.
163,000. All right,
Which is gonna be paid for out of the Foster building.
great point, great point. Thank you for bringing that up. We had that on our agenda, so as you'll see. So an appropriation for funding of this will not be money, this is not in the budget currently, but it's not gonna be money that new money we have to approve. There will be an appropriation for funding out of the funds that we received for the Foster's building, the old rec center. We're in receipt of that money, is that correct, Grant? Or close?
No, I think we're close.
Yeah.
It shows paid on the state's website, but I believe, mayor's.
I've been in touch with the attorney that's actually got the check, trying to work out a time to get it from him.
Okay, and that's approximately 480,000. We discussed that in the December meeting.
Yes.
One of the meetings. Okay, so what's, being proposed at this time, and thank you, Chief, for your work and your department's work on this, is, up to 163,000 to sprinkle the coal and iron building. And, for the public's knowledge, this is more cost effective to do this now while the Opera House is being done. And you can imagine while all the work, while the contractor's there, just to do our part now, and this will set us up better. This should have been done also, that was another point I think that was made, should have been done years ago. But this can be done now and will just set us up better for future development, either on that second floor of the coal and iron building, or also hosting events on the bottom floor. It'll help your group.
Correct. The city's really limited with what they can do with the building currently, because it's not sprinklers.
Okay.
And Fort Payne Water's did a substantial amount of this, basically on their own as far as running the line and hookups. That's saving us a lot of money too, we appreciate them.
Yes, thank you to Fort Payne Water Works Board for that. So we have an amount of 163,000 on the table. Do we have a motion that we accept this as an appropriation from the Foster's Gym allotment?
So moved.
Motion by John. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Richard. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Same. All right, that carries unanimously. Last item, we have a special request from Connie Fuller with Main Street. You wanna come up and speak to this, Connie? Or do you want me to just?
Just go for it.
Okay, all right, so it's to rent the Rotary Pavilion, and the date is in September, what is that, Brandy?
12.
September 12th, and this would be, there will be a 5K race that day, and then the pavilion would be, is basically you're renting that as a headquarters, I guess, as a.
It's a glow run,
Mhm.
at night, at 7 p.m. that night,
Okay,
and you're all invited to come and run in your glorious outfits. So, yes, we'll just be, that'll just be the place where we, start the race and return.
okay,
Okay?
all right, thank you for that. I am officially nominating Richard Camp to run in my place that night.
Yeah, I'm coming, I'm not ready to.
All right. All right, so we have that on the table, guys. How would you like to proceed?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Bo to approve and a second by Mike. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And So we are adding one other item of new business, that did not make it to the agenda, but it was something that we discussed in the, work session. So we had a lengthy discussion in our last executive session. We were presented with an opportunity in our city for economic development. And there was an original recommendation or proposal made that would have included the city paying an amount of upfront cash and tax abatement. There was no interest as a whole collectively to pay cash. So what has been pitched as a second proposal is to pay upwards, up to a cap of $2,370,000. And that will be paid as a tax abatement with a cap of 10 years. And this company, ABC, we're gonna call ABC, to receive 2 cents of the 4 cents sales tax that the city receives. So the city, there's 9 cents total tax, city gets 4, county gets 1, state gets 4. So out of that 4 cents we collect, this would be receiving 2 cents of that 4, up to 10 years with a cap at 10 of total amount $2,370,000. If that amount was achieved in year 7, 6, any time before year 10, then it stops, it would cease. If we get to year 10, it's underperforming, and we've not met that number, then it still ceases. There's no more money paid out. Whatever that amount is paid out at that point, it would cease. So, with that being said, we need a motion to accept this amount, $2,370,000 in tax incentive with a payout of 2 cents up to 10 years.
Do we wanna discuss the second proposal we came up with after this either passes or doesn't pass?
We can do whatever.
I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
it's called, whatever you want to do.
Well, and just making sure, can we do this regardless without naming this business? Is there anything that would prevent us from yaying or naying this right now?
I think you would either need to vote yes or no on this before you go
Yes.
for a further proposal or a counter proposal or anything along those lines.
But I believe because of the non-disclosure agreement we're under, we don't need to discuss any name.
Right.
So what's on the table, this was recommendation number 2, or proposal number 2 from, said company ABC, is $2,370,000 in tax rebate incentive, 2 cents up to 10 years. So do we have a motion to accept this? All right, with no motion, that motion will die, that will not carry that request. So to John's point, we'd like to have another discussion as far as something you guys would like to entertain.
What we talked about in our work session was 1 cent abatement, either with or without a cap, time cap.
Okay,
You know, it's a counter offer.
Yeah.
and I think there was some dialogue around, we need to have a cap.
Yeah, we don't need to be,
It doesn't need to be open-ended, so a 1 cent, but we also need a dollar amount. Do you have a dollar amount you would propose?
No, I'm just saying, I'm just talking about what we said, I'm not proposing it.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, keep the same top cap, same cap.
Okay, 10-year cap. 1 cent. And then do we have a dollar amount? I mean, if you cut it in half or, what were you gonna say, Mike?
What was our requested dollar amount?
2,370,000 was the requested.
could either cut it in half or double the time period for 1 cent. So if we did 1 cent for 20 years with the same cap, same difference.
And I think there was some opposition, to going longer than 10 years. Yeah, I didn't want to speak for you, but Rick mentioned that in the work session, that's a good idea.
But the math, excuse me, the math only works out like that's talking about is cutting
Right.
If you do 1 cent.
We would not reach the 2 million in 10 years at 1 cent.
If you do the 1 cent that John is countering with, us, we counter back at, same cap of 10 years. If you divide that number, that original number that they proposed, and that's $1,185,000 in a tax abatement.
Is that obtainable by the?
Yeah, it would be. It would be around the same time frame, about 9 years.
What's that figure?
Based on their sales performance.
What's that figure?
$1,185,000.
Do we need motion to entertain or not?
Well, that's what's on the table, right? Are you making that as a motion, or was that just discussion? That's not a motion, that's just an option. And part of this, and, there's sensitivity around this being confidential, as the public can appreciate, I hope. There's also another option, besides company ABC, there's an option of an XYZ is what we labeled it, so to come in, as well, so there's options on the table.
Well, I still think I'd make a motion to counter offer with me still not talk to them again, just quit.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we renegotiate, maybe make that offer.
All right, do you like this particular counter, or are you proposing?
No, I think that's fine what we discussed.
Okay, paying 1 cent rebate up to 10 years, a cap at 10 years, with a cap dollar amount of $1,185,000. And in that scenario, Fort Payne would still receive 3 cents. on each tax
Or
bill.
option 3 would be to do nothing,
Correct.
because they're gonna come in with something anyway. So you gotta weigh that too. Do we wanna do this, or do we wanna, we're, like I said earlier, we're in the driver's seat, we're rarely in the driver's seat on these deals.
We are, but I think, the ABC in the long term is a much sounder, is, to me.
Were you making it as a?
That's, well, that's what talking about, so that's what I would do.
Okay, so a motion by Richard to pay in a tax incentive, a cap of 1.185, so $1,185,000, capped at 10 years, and that's paying 1 cent of every tax dollar we receive. That's the motion. Do we have a second? Second by Mike. Any further discussion before we vote?
And they may turn this down, right?
They could, yes. It's totally within their right to turn our counter down, just like we turned their second offer down.
But the city benefits way more with this option than the first.
Long term.
Long term.
And it also benefits way more than the XYZ option. So like John said, we're still driving the bus as well. I mean, it benefits the city.
Okay. So, any other further discussion? All right, we have a motion by Richard, second by Mike. Let's do a roll call. So Richard?
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
I'll say no. So with a 3-2 vote, that motion is denied. So as of now, nothing, unless you guys have another counter you'd like to go back with. All right.
I'm all for helping. I mean, and we will help them, whatever they decide to do. Let's kind of see how this plays out.
Okay. All right. So that is the conclusion of our new business, unless somebody up here has anything else to discuss. Chad? All right, we need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Bo to adjourn. We need a second. Second by Richard. All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, so carried. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.